Welcome back, everybody. Good news. I have a co-caster. Doesn't have a face, though. He's got a
faceless
label. Yep, this is faceless. Stepbrother, tasteless. Now, This is Fear Dragon, everybody. Woo!
Yay!
He's actually available to cast on a Friday, which I wasn't expecting, but I'm very grateful for.
Yay!
Yeah, because it's a double elimination European bracket, so this could be a long one.
Yeah, yesterday's matches went for quite a while, right? With the North American bracket.
I actually went to sleep before it was all finished, so I think it must have gone 7 hours. It started at 6. I went to sleep at like midnight, and it was still going. So.
Yeah, definitely a very, very interesting day. Really great matches, though.
Yeah, I saw some of them. I cast one of them, of course. You were there for that. So.
You, of course, like hopped in and was like, "Oh, Scarlet is playing? Okay."
Yeah, that's why I did it. I was like, yeah.
Scarlet
okay.
got knocked down to the losers bracket? Okay, bye-bye.
I'm done. Bye-bye. No. Whoopsie, forgot to play commercials. There you go. But it was pretty fun yesterday. Little more intimidating to start off a cast, looking at how long the losers bracket will go on. But of course, I do plan on casting all of the games today, unless something totally terrible happens, or it takes 9 hours. Actually, if it takes 9 hours, it's not so much on us, being tired for casting. It'd actually be on the players, because that would be into like midnight and beyond for a lot of these players, and some of them are getting pretty tired. They can't really change it to like 2 days or anything like that, but they'll probably start getting a little grumpy and wishing that it had gone faster.
Yeah. Do we know what our next game is going to be, by the way?
We do, yes. It's going to be Lillekanin versus uThermal.
Ooh, that's fun. I am on a love-hate relationship right now with uThermal because he's supposed to play in the European Ladder Heroes monthly finals tomorrow. And he told me like 2 weeks ago, like, oh, I may be able to play. I'll know closer to the date. And I've messaged him like every single day this week. And every single time he's like, oh, yeah, sorry, I missed your message. I've been really busy. And then he wouldn't say anything after that. So I'd be like, all right, can you play or not? Like, look, man, you don't have to apologize. Just tell me if you can play.
He doesn't want to start that awkward conversation. Yeah, I said I would, but... You gonna ask him here? Oh, God. Well, we're ready to... And we're in the lobby, and looking at nice have to host the WCS Game Heart, so we'll have the, workers killed and all that, but... The first map's Dasan Station, by the way, guys, just to throw that out there, so... Not unexpected for Terran players to choose it, especially against other races. Against each other, it's just always going to be one of those odd maps. But Lillekanin, I can see it. uThermal, I can see it. So, they're just... Sometimes there are a lot of, like... uThermal overall, I don't think can be argued is, like, not better than Lillekanin, even from Lillekanin himself. But in terms of, like, playstyles, uThermal does have all, like, the tricks that Lillekanin does, just on a far less frequent basis.
Yeah, and I think it's so fitting that these two players would, in, like, light of everything you just talked about, start off the game on Dasan Station.
Yeah, that's pretty weird stuff. In the bottom right in this best of 3, as the green Terran, he is a Lillekanin.
And up in the top leftish corner of the map, we have the blue Terran player representing Team Liquid. It's uThermal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, TvT on this map. It can get wonky. I think the last time I saw it, there was some, like, 2-rack Reapers against each other, but it can also surprisingly play to a somewhat normal game. Big deals, most important things about this map is that not very long distance from base to base, both ground and air, so any type of push really works. Whether it's a medevac drop, or a Banshee harassment, or a tank push, those are all pretty good. Hellion drops even can be, because there's a lot of dead space to get in where your opponent doesn't notice them. I'd be scared to play on this map, and against either one of these guys I'd be scared. For both of them to play against each other, it's like, I don't know, two forces, unstoppable forces crashing into each other or something like that. Like, It's gonna be
First person to
weird.
expand is gonna be at a significant disadvantage.
Yeah, probably something like that, which I guess can be argued is always the case in TvT, depending on how aggressive your opponent is. But oh, look at this! So they're going for very similar builds, but of course Lillekanin proxies his factory.
You know, the weird thing about this factory proxy is that I imagine like immediately behind this is gonna be a starport also proxied, but I think that I actually wonder. I think uThermal's still just gonna proxy his starport with where he's sending his own SCV. So what is uThermal planning to do with this? Is this just going to be like a Banshee opening versus like I think elevator medevac siege tanks? I'm not sure.
Well, he could proxy Banshee. He could. There's not really a reason to proxy a medevac like this in particular, you know? Like, it's Dasan Station. You really need to proxy something that's going to get over to the other person's base pretty quickly, but...
Oh,
Lillekanin!
building,
Oh my
starport.
god. Oh, I forgot he does this on Dasan Station. He's going to go for a Thor drop. Oh my god, this guy.
Oh
and Thor
my
drops are actually
God.
really hard to take care of, especially if you're getting these really light, like, you know, not that many units. They're really not that good against Thors. And then your starport, the one thing that can really help you by getting a Viking and taking down the medevac is all the way on the other side of the map. That's so
my
silly.
god. I think the most fun part about this is that we're going to see Liberators coming out from uThermal. High impact payload Thors will obliterate a Liberator. And this isn't even going to be close.
Yeah. Liberator is probably like a Liberator or a Banshee, to be honest. Either one's going to be able to do a lot of harassment on this side of the map, but a Banshee probably would have been better against the actual Thor if it could keep its cloak, you know? And only on one base, Lillekanin would not have that many scans, so that might be better later on, and maybe uThermal can still afford it once he realizes what's up, but of course the wall is blocking him out here. In fact, the Reapers are blocked out too. I like this little addition from Lillekanin, so really no scouting going down.
Oh man, this is going to be a huge problem. And uThermal's still actually just producing more Reapers. He's not even making Marines, so he's literally going to have 0 things that can ever kill off the medevac. The medevac should never die. The Thor should never die.
Yeah. I want to also talk about, like, the one clever little thing Lillekanin did. Is borderline, it's both clever and necessary, as he's losing all of his SCVs right now. He might just die before he can get his Thor in.
Oh my god.
Is that he brought his Hellion back over here to defend, and in doing so made it look like he had a factory at home and not proxied. So I'm pretty sure uThermal still has no idea.
This is really weird. I mean, does this go into a 2-unit medevac plus Thor base trade versus like an actual quasi-army?
This army cannot take on a Thor, I can tell you that much. Even the Liberator, as long as the medevac survives, like, he can dodge around it. But uThermal's getting a Banshee, and that's exactly what is so useful. Thank you for that donation. It's on the screen. Anyways, we'll get to that afterwards. Oh my god, Command Center is being lifted, and this is exactly the type of game I expected from these two on Dasan Station.
This is so unbelievably odd. I want to note, I don't think that Dasan Station has any, like, big area where you cannot attack a floating building. I think that every single spot on this map, you can fire at a command center that's, like, floated into the corner.
Yeah. It's so important that uThermal gets a Cyclone, by the way, as Lillekanin was able to afford a Viking. The Banshee would eventually run out of cloak, but the Cyclone, okay, I was gonna say shouldn't die, but then it dies, so never mind. You got the medevac kind of low though. Does he have anything else to shoot it down? No. No, the Thor. I can't believe the Thor's gonna win. All right, he's building a Wood of Mine now. Oh no, that's a Lillekanin. No.
So.
Oh, the Liberator can attack air. Duh. Okay, that's actually gonna be game then.
Yeah, Banshee's gonna be able to take out the Thor. The Liberator chases off the medevac. GG gets called. uThermal. What? Takes the first base trade.
What boggles my mind though is, like, if the Cyclone hadn't dealt that damage, the Liberator deals so little damage anti-air mode that the Viking should have been able to kill it, and he should have just, like, played a dancing game, right? I still think overall uThermal wins, but the game could have lasted a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it became a really messy game, and losing that Cyclone. Also, I think, like, if he had not lost that Cyclone uThermal, I think it would have been even more lockdown.
Yeah, absolutely. Very wonky, very fun. Of course, I think first and First and foremost, if Lillekanin had been able to get like a bunker or something in his main base, that wouldn't have been broken so easily too, and that would have been really, really different, because uThermal had no idea for the longest time what was going on. He was entirely in the dark, but it's about as expected. Thank you to Eric Oniwa for the 7-month resub. And again, if you missed it earlier, I can't access Twitch alerts, so thank you again for the donation. And you would be the top Korean caster, except that I can't actually get that information or what you wrote. I saw something about KeSPA Cup and foreigners, and I couldn't read it all in time while that was all happening. So, thank you, and I apologize.
Yeah, that was a mildly busy game.
Yeah, a little bit. A lot of stuff to think about. That was right first. All right, in the bottom right on Frozen Temple, he is down 1. It is the green Terran, Lillekanin.
And his opponent in the top left-hand corner, we have the blue Terran player representing Team Liquid up 1-0. Give it up for uThermal.
So cool that this guy represents Team Liquid now, too. That was like a pretty perfect pickup when everyone was wondering where he was going to join.
I feel like, man, this is maybe a little bit of bias because, and I'm sure you'll feel like similarly, where Team Liquid's always been like that home for the StarCraft community in a lot of ways. And I know a lot of people migrated over to Reddit when StarCraft 2 came out and all that stuff, but for me, Team Liquid has always just been like that very, very lovable team that always picks up people that are like, you know what, you're not just a good player, you're a very likable person.
Yeah. I guess maybe the only thing you could argue that they took on, which could be, argued with, was Huck, because Huck has always been a controversial figure, even if he overall was like a nice guy, and we've met him and whatnot. I'm saying he's a bad guy, but he had some, anti-fans.
I will say though, you know what, if you recall, most of his, like, I will say arrogance, but I don't mean that in like a super negative way. I would say confidence. His confidence came actually after he started getting results in like the GSL and everything, which is at which point he basically immediately switched over to Evil Geniuses.
It's a good point. We can all blame Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, exactly.
You're absolutely right, man. Team Liquid, keeping their win streak, I guess. Ooh, no, that's repairing it. Almost got an SCV, buddy.
He's attacking his own SCV.
Well, I was confused for a second. Alright, so Reaper's gonna stay at home for Lillekanin. He is going for a command center, where of course he just scouted uThermal's going for a 1-base build, so he will have to play a little more defensive.
Yeah, I didn't never actually realize that an SCV repairing has the exact same animation as attacking, and that thought never occurred to me.
It can be confusing. I've certainly, like, attacked a gas geyser or something on accident while I was trying to repair it. Everything else is going on, and you just don't realize it until you're like, wait a minute, that's slowly draining health. What's going on? Well, two Reapers and a Hellion is definitely going to beat one Reaper. Run.
Yeah, Lillekanin is going to have his own 2 Hellions coming out pretty soon, but going to have to defend a little bit, and I think the biggest thing is that he really wanted to be able to kill off that SCV before it finished Command Center, but just barely in the nick of time, Lillekanin finishes it up.
Yeah, that's pretty nice for him, because that would be really annoying. It would never get, like, cancelled, but the stall-out would have been quite good for uThermal. Double Hellions should push this back, and then some. Oh, unless he gets a little too bold of it. Alright, there we go. But uThermal is following this up with a starport, so he says something else he's going to have to worry about. Says Lillekanin's starport is finished, just not producing. It's a question of what is uThermal going to get. Lillekanin, I was going to guess, is going to get a defensive unit of some type, so a Viking here. Obviously can't go for a Cyclone, which really solidifies the defense, but still a Viking's good enough against Medevac, Banshees, Liberator. Liberator pretty common follow-up to that. It is going to be a Medevac with a tank, so we might be looking for a push.
Yeah, Lillekanin also getting the tech lab on the barracks, and I wonder, is he actually going to swap? Yeah, I think he's going to swap that over to the starport, so he may actually be going into a really, really heavily aggressive, I won't say like full mech, but I mean 1-1-1 mechs push.
Yeah. This is not usually a push we see. One tank sometimes is just not enough to really warrant pushing out with it. But with a Medevac, it almost never gets killed, right? So, unless it accidentally runs into a Viking or a Cyclone, which Lillekanin doesn't have a Cyclone and his Viking's off somewhere else. There really isn't a lot of Marines to cover it, so that might just be how Lillekanin pushes this back.
Hmm. Well, Seashank doing getting a couple of good shots off right now. Lillekanin has to be careful not to lose too many units over here until some of his other units come out, like the Raven. But pulling some SCVs, he's going to be losing them and a decent portion of his army.
Yeah. 6 SCVs will give uThermal a lead. He barely saves that medevac. Oh, that Viking should have probably gotten the last hit there. And will leave, but still has an army supply lead too, so no fear of a counterattack. Lillekanin was defending with, of course, pure Hellions, which is always a very difficult defense to do. You really do need some key, like auto turrets, or the Viking actually getting a snipe to help that type of unit composition out. And now he's going to get a lot of Vikings, and you know he's going to go into mech, because it's Lillekanin, but he's really been cut hard there. uThermal's even getting a 3rd CC right now.
Yeah, I think it got really awkward because it almost looked like Lillekanin wasn't looking to just play defensive there. It almost seemed like he wanted to get offensive. It seemed like he wanted to move out across the map, and he was about to once his Raven popped out, but he sort of just got caught first and had to retreat back and was put into this really weird spot. Sort of surprised that uThermal's still letting Cloak finish up after he saw there was a Raven and Vikings being made.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's probably not going to be worthwhile, but we'll see. Sometimes the armies move out of position, the Vikings are out of position. You get a surprising amount of kills because there's no missile turrets, so you know, it gets in here for like
the army's out of position.
10 seconds. Yeah, it's totally out of position. It's looking for free medevac kills, I would say, on tanks that are floating around every which way. But they're not.
Oh my god, this Banshee's going to get so much damage done, which doesn't make sense, but I mean, well, is he going to actually move in with it?
Well, he should. He sees that the Vikings are there. Oh, he's looking for a main push. Maybe just... there we go. Now he's going to move in. And that's... You're right. So much damage. Like, oh my god. Even if he doesn't get more than, like, 8 SCV kills, all the lost mining time is pretty big. A second Banshee's going to go into the natural. And while this cleans up one Banshee, the other Banshee might just get, like, 6 more SCVs.
Yeah, the Raven and the Vikings are all on a big retreat back home, which, again, also even delays the push-out that Lillekanin was looking to go for. Makes a couple of Hellbats, but, oh man, the damage has already been done at this point. It's like you were saying, that lost mining time is really brutal, especially with uThermal getting up at 3rd Command Center, is already mining from it, has his production kicking off.
Oh, that medevac saved the last SCV. Way to go, medevacs.
He actually may have just bought himself enough time to finish up Stim and Combat Shields for that push-out, because before, Lillekanin was going to be hitting way before it was even close to finishing, but now it might actually finish during the push?
Maybe. Lillekanin still has to pick up his units. There we go, and he's going to rush in pretty quickly here, but uThermal knows what type of push it is. It's actually kind of a more common push. We see more mech players show themselves. So he's already pre-split. The Cyclone's an interesting idea. They'd be able to take on one of the crucial air elements in this army. Tanks, of course, going to help out against the Hellbats because the Bio's having a hard time doing that. But it should be cleaned up, and there's really not a lot of reinforcements.
Yeah. Vikings for Lillekanin, though, landing on top of the siege tank, and some of the reinforcements are starting to pop out over here for uThermal. It is starting to look pretty close, but the Hellbats are about to get on top of that 3rd expansion mineral land just because they don't really have that many more units left to attack. So yeah. I think that Lillekanin is starting to get some of the damage done he kind of needs to. 6
SCVs, this one's kind of, it should be taken care of soon. That's, you know, he's already down SCVs, he's also down a 3rd command center. He just gave away, or he's going to give away a lot of his army once it all is all cleaned up. I would say it's not worth, although it is better than expected, because uThermal was prepared for this. Oh, this Hellbat got a lot of damage done. There you go, buddy.
Yeah, still even a Hellbat at the 3rd, trying to get some more damage done while the double drop at the natural was still going on, but looks like the Lillekanin is finally cleaned up, and he is surprisingly not as far behind in army supply as I thought he would be after trading that out.
Yeah. He did save his medevacs and a single Hellbats, and of course he's reducing this entire time, so not following up with tanks, but there's a lot more Marauders. At 47 SCVs, uThermal is not, you know, unable to afford anything, and it still is, you know, of course, producing 3 SCVs at a time, so without the Hellbat drops to cover the tanks, or enough tanks to cover each other, oh, that one medevac almost went down. He could not take on that army. uThermal, his army supply is about 20 up. He's looking to win here. Some good positioning with tanks might just save Lillekanin for a little while longer, but it's going to be hard to win the game from here.
Not many Marines actually left over from that initial attack, so the Marauders can't really actually take out the medevacs very quickly. Hellbats get some pretty guaranteed drops off, but Oh man, this positioning for uThermal with those Marauders makes it impossible for these SCVs to actually do anything over here.
Yeah. Marauders standing alive for a long time. Reinforcements just flooding down the middle of the map. Upgrades about to finish. Lillekanin taps out. GG.
uThermal takes the 2-0 and moves on to the next round of the KeSPA Cup European Qualifiers, where I think he faces off versus the winner of Bly and DNS.
Does he? Ooh. Okay, we might cast that one after.
Yeah.
You know how quickly it goes down. Harson vs. Muslim, the first game that I wanted to catch, probably underway. I think Harson probably beat his
There are a
opponent
lot of really
perfectly.
good matches. Mana versus Raynor. Winner goes on to face off versus Petit Drogo. Whelmu will face off versus winner of a Laser versus Hellraiser, which no offense to Hellraiser, but most likely a Laser. Sordo versus Sake. Potentially Bunny or Guru versus Showtime. Like, there's just good matches everywhere.
Yeah, so take a 2-minute break and try and find whatever match, any match here really. And get back to you guys soon.